people who have just been quote unquote living their lives, and more or less they're normies who they don't even notice that like the world changed. You know, like in 2014 and onward, when it was like Black Lives Matter and Antifa and Proud Boys, it's like, you know, they didn't even notice. It's like, oh man, there sure is a lot of racists, maybe, but they weren't even. Here's the perfect way for a normie to be, okay? Because there's obviously like the toxic SJWs who got completely obsessed with politics, with left-wing politics for the most part. But I think about like maybe me if I never woke up, you know, if I had an easier life and the things I was doing worked out. I talked about that state where it's just like kind of by default you're a leftist. You're a leftist by default. You know, I probably would have shared a couple of Black Lives Matter pictures. I probably would have jumped in on some cancel sessions, told some guy he's a knuckle-dragging bigot, a relic of the past. Just go on somebody's post, you're a relic of the past, bigot. But then you don't really think about it, you know? Maybe it seems like you really care, but you're kind of just like posting stuff on Facebook that you know gets likes, and you actually spend very, very, very little time thinking about Antifa or Black Lives Matter or any of that stuff. But it does come up in passing at parties and social events, and you probably have some friends. Like I would have some friends like, dude, I was at this Antifa rally the other day and we beat up these Trump supporters, bro. It was so dope. It was so dope because they wouldn't say based. It's like, oh, right on, man. Fight the power, dude. But you just don't really care. So this is like somebody who just hasn't really been affected by anything, dude. Like just some freaking, like the absolute most 100 IQ you could ever have, dude. People probably have like fractions or decimal points of IQ. Like, dude, you are just smack dab 100.000000000 infinite IQ. Like just 100 IQ straight up and down, dude. Just absolutely average tier, dude. And you just don't notice. Like life was just life, and you listen to whatever's on the radio. You know, you're my age, so when you were growing up, it was like, you know, the band Garbage, living without you. Garbage was on the radio, and the Cranberries, and No Doubt. And then in the 2000s, Nickelback was on the radio. And then in the later 2000s, Rihanna was on. I mean, it's just whatever. You just sing along. It's like, oh man, I love this Nickelback song. Oh man, I love this Rihanna song. Oh man, what's this band called? Imagine Dragons? Love it. You know, you never complain about the popular music changing. It's like, oh man, I really miss the 90s, or man, this music's crap. Like, nope. You just loved all of it, dude. You loved all the singles of the 90s, you know, when you were a kid, and you loved Nickelback, but ultimately, if anybody plays old music, you're like, man, turn that crap off. That's old. Like, so you're kind of biased towards whatever's in. You like whatever's on the radio. And you're definitely not, like, upset about the state of music. You're not upset about movies. You always went to the movies. And you don't want to watch old movies. I was like, what? Why you want to watch that, dude? That's old. Let's watch the new Avengers movie. Dude, there's a brand new Avengers movie. What are you doing, bro? You don't notice video games shifting? If anybody has a problem with feminist video games, you're like, dude, like, who cares, man? It's her turn. I have absolutely no problem with a female lead being in Grand Theft Auto, dude. It's awesome. She kicks ass, bro. Touch grass, bro. So, you know, you're not like a radical feminist, but maybe somebody would look at your Facebook and think that you are, but you're just pretending to care. But not pretending to care because you're hiding and like really you're based. Like, no, you have that normie instinct. So you never noticed that the music changed. You never noticed that movies declined. From 2014 on, you just naturally adapted to like fit in with political stuff. You're like, oh shoot, when Trump won, but you didn't really care that much. So then, when the coof happened, you're like, oh my gosh, this is crazy, but you didn't get sick, and you got the jibby jab, obviously, and all your friends got the jibby jab, and you're like, oh man, can you believe that so-and-so didn't get the jab? And he's like posting this absolute Russian tier propaganda on Facebook. Yeah, it's for the best that he lost his job. I mean, he really needs to learn. He's not coming to the family dinner. That's the kind of small talk you have. And then when that all was over, it's like, man, those lockdowns were crazy, dude. I watched so much Avengers movies. I marathoned all the Avengers movies, and I played a bunch of like new games. Like, I don't even like know what games people play anymore. A lot of you guys probably play new games. There's nothing wrong with that, but during lockdown they played like the newest Fallout. They watched a bunch of brand spanking new TV shows on Netflix. And they listened to like some like Imagine Dragons Let's Stay Inside live stream concert or whatever. And then, here they are in 2024. And it's like, I wonder what's on the radio. Oh, I wonder what movie's coming out. Like, they never stopped watching movies their entire life. It's just been like, oh, I wonder what's in the movie theaters this weekend. Oh, cool, a new James Bond movie. Like, oh, they got a female lead to play James Bond. Wow. That looks great. Can't wait. Like, you guys know what I'm saying here, dude? This is kind of like an ASMR rant. I actually think I'm going to wrap this up soon. This is probably going to be the first video in a while that's not like 10 minutes, but that guy I just posted about on my community tabs, I kind of like roasted him a little bit in his message box. We ended things on an okay note, I don't encourage any sort of mistreatment of that guy. We worked it out. He just pissed me off a little bit by talking some crap in a group, but he's kind of what inspired this video, because that's kind of how I imagine him. I really don't know him that well, but I just imagine, like, you're just like this average guy drifting through life, and all of us have just, obviously our lives have changed. Like, we basically can't even continue. We're like weighed down by the state of the world. And there's not really a way to defend that. There's not really a way to justify it. It's like these guys who are just, oh man, I wonder what's in the movie theaters. I was like, oh, let's turn on the radio. Oh wow, it's a new Rihanna collab with Jack Doherty. I don't know. He's probably gonna start making music soon, and then he'll become a pop star. Because it's not even about the music anymore. It's just about being famous, and then you just make some crappy song in auto-tune. I mean, I wouldn't even be surprised if that's true, dude. I'm thinking about reaching out to him. I should be like, hey, dude, you want to make a song? And then act like I know how to help him make a song. I mean, that's pretty much the whole concept, guys. Just people who just, 90s, 2000s, 1010, 2020, same, but the coof and the jibby jab, like, wow, that was crazy, but now it's over, and now life is back to normal. And people like me and us who like feel like the world is in shambles, like we're crazy and we're radicals, and oh yeah, it's so sad, Jake's mentally ill now. Sad. I'm gonna go watch the new Barbie movie. Barbie 2. Every single man in the world gets a sex change. um, yeah, man, it's like, is that evolution? Have those people adapted? And then we're just gonna get left behind? And then basically, them and all their future generations are enslaved. But they don't even care, and they don't even realize it. It doesn't even matter. Maybe that's what's for the best, you guys. We're literally some relic of the past. We're the people who haven't adapted to inevitable enslavement and indoctrination. Like, these people are just they're just gonna like give up their faith, and they're just gonna like oh man, I love my I don't even know what any of this crap is called. I love my Google Vision goggles, man. Wake up, oh, put on your Google Vision goggles and go to your virtual meetings and just kind of just like, roll right through a quick 15-minute. This is why Christianity needed to be obliterated. It's like, oh yeah, absolutely. And then your whole life is lived inside of your Oculus Rift Google Vision. And then you go outside and it's like a totalitarian meltdown where all the chuds are getting rounded up for realizing that we live in enslavement and global tyranny, and you're just like, oh man, those dang old dissidents, when will they learn, man? It's so hard to just be progressive and transhumanist and let Rockefeller own you. Oh, I'm probably gonna give this video a watch before I upload it, just to see if it's YouTube worthy. But yeah, you know what? I think it is. Something a little different. That's it. God bless you, my friends. Final thoughts, because I feel like I didn't wrap it up. It's just like, maybe these people are better than us and we don't even understand, dude. Because they're not weighed down, and a lot of them have relationships, and maybe they're not the best relationships, but they don't notice. They don't notice that it's not the best relationship. They don't notice that their life is being micromanaged by evil. They don't notice that the world is going to shit. They just don't notice, and they just don't care, and they've lived a normal life because of that. And people like us, I mean, we're doing the right thing. We're the good guys. We're the people in the know. We're lucky to be who we are. You should be very, very, very appreciative of it. But it's just funny to think that there's people out there, the majority, maybe, a lot of people who just think everything's fine. They think everything has always been fine. And when the craziness happened in 2020, it was basically like a power outage. And they're like, oh, I'm just going to sit here and wait for the power to come back on. I mean, just imagine when the power goes out for the final time, and it's because the CIA shut down the grid so they could initiate their assassination plot on all the chuds. These kind of people are going to be sitting there with a blank face. They'd be like, oh, power's out. Let me just sit here for 5 minutes and noodle around on my iPad while I wait for the power to come back on. And then people are screaming outside, and and the power just never comes back on. And then they just starve to death. And at no point do they ever realize that anything is wrong, because they're not even capable of realizing that anything wrong could ever happen. It depends how you look at it, guys. It's like a lawyer. This is what lawyers do. You can either make the case that that person is better than you and they've lived a more successful life than you, or you can make the case that the purpose of life is to figure things out and to understand, And if you are living in like a developing global tyranny, you should like probably not feel great about it. Even though it's nice to feel good. So that's what I have to say about it, guys. I think I'm going to try to get some sleep. God bless, and I'll see you next time.